Alaba Girivara Dhari Yashodanandana Vrajayana Ranjana Yashodanandana Vrajayana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Jaya Radha Govinda Radha Govinda Radhe Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Om Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudhirayet Nashta Prayesva Bhadresu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. Hare Krishna. We're reading from Grantaraj Śrimad Bhāgavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 26, Text 41. Rupa Matrad Vikurvanad Tejaso Deva Choditat Rasa Matram Abhutasmad Ambho Jiva Nagraha Rupa Matrad Vikurvanat Tejaso Deva Choditat Rasa Matram Abhutasmad Ambho Jiva Rasagraha Rupa Matra Vikurvanat Tejaso Deva Choditat Rasa Matram Abhutasmad Ambho Jiva Rasagraha. Devotees. Rupamatra vikurvanat tejaso deva choditat rasamatram bhutasmad jiva rasagraha Upamatram vikurvanad tejaso deva choditat rasamatram bhutasmad jiva rasagraha. One more. Rupamatra vikurvanad tejaso deva choditat rasamatram abhutasmad jiva rasag. Mataji's. Rupamatra vikurvanad tejaso deva choditat rasamatram abhutasmad jiva rasagraha. Rupamatra vikurvanad tejaso deva choditat rasmatram abhutasmad jiva rasagraha. Oops, sorry. Rupamatra vikurvanad tejaso deva choditat rasamatram abhutasmad jiva rasagraha. Rupamatra vikurvanad tejaso deva choditat rasamatram abhutasmad jiva rasagraha. Rupamatrat, which evolves from the subtle element form. Vikurvanat, undergoing transformation. Tejasaha, from fire. Deva choditat, under superior arrangement. Rasamatram, the subtle element taste. Abhut, became manifested. Tasmat, from that. Ambha, water. Jivva, the sense of taste. Rasagraha, which perceives taste. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki. By the interaction of fire and the visual sensation, the subtle element taste evolves under a superior arrangement. From taste, water is produced, and the tongue, which perceives taste, is also manifested. Please repeat after me. By the interaction of fire and the visual sensation, the subtle element taste evolves under a superior arrangement. From taste, water is produced, and the tongue, which perceives taste, is also manifested. Purport. The tongue is described here as the instrument for acquiring knowledge of taste. Because taste is a product of water, there's always saliva on the tongue. I'm scheduled to do the next verse as well. Madhurastiktha katvam amla iti naikadha bhautikanam vikarena rasa eko vibhidyate. Although originally one, taste becomes manifold as astringent, sweet, bitter, pungent, sour, and salty due to contact with other substances. Om Ajnana-timirandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nidhi Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Rupamatar vikurvana tejaso deva choditat rasamatram abhutasmad ambojiva rasagraha. By the interaction of fire and the visual sensation, the subtle element taste evolves under a superior arrangement. From taste, water is produced, and the tongue, which perceives taste, is also manifested. Hare Krishna. Thank you for attending our class today on the Śrimad Bhāgavatam, the king of all literatures. I would like to start the class by seeking the blessings of all the assembled Vaishnavas, and may the right words come in the right mood and the right spirit in service of the Śrimad Bhāgavatam. So today we'll just speak a little bit about this verse, and today we have a lot of festivals also, so we'll speak a little bit about the festivals. So in this section of Śrimad Bhāgavatam, we have Devaki inquiring from her son Kapila Muni, and Kapila Muni speaking about the material elements and so on. And basically, what it's describing is there is false egoism, and when it is tinged with the three modes of material nature, there's different effects. And one of the effects that is coming is when false egoism is tinged with ignorance is sound. And when sound is interacting with the time factor, it transforms into air, touch, and the organ to perceive and such. And air plus touch, I think, in the fire, right? A fire and eyes, and then somehow and then it turns into taste. And that's where we're at right now. The fire and eye, that organ perceives form. By the interaction of fire with the visual sensation, taste evolves. From taste, water is produced, as well as the tongue, which perceives taste. When water interacts with taste, in the next verse, odor will evolves, followed by the earth, and so on. So, in Krishna consciousness, taste is actually naturally is very important. Pibata Bhagavatam Rasam Alayam, having a taste for this Bhagavat. I found there's two ways of conquering ignorance, and if you're intelligent, these are two ways that is mentioning. So if you ever want to plant a seed or to grow a plant, and if you have some weeds growing, now if you start cutting it from the leaves of the weed, then actually the weed will grow back. So, but if you take the weed out from the root of the problem, then actually you can pull out the weed and the weed won't come back. So same way, we can understand when the false ego, that itself is a problem, but when it's interacting with the mode of ignorance, what is the first combination? What is the first effect? Sound. So my Guru Maharaj gives a nice seminar, and it's called "You Are Here," and I think we gave a class. I think Yashar Dulal gave that same topic to him. But here is spelled Hear rather than Here. So you are basically what you hear, based on the sound vibration that you are running off. That's basically who you are. We're all chanting some mantra. Some people are chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, which is the perfection of life, and some people are chanting many other mantras. I There's a mantra that I was repeating to some of the Harinam boys. It's from Charvak Muni, and Charvak Muni is an atheist. Prabhupada quotes him like a couple times. And Charvak Muni was asked, "What is the goal of life?" And the goal of life, according to Charvak Muni, is to beg, borrow, or steal, but attain ghee and eat ghee as much as possible and die happy. This is Charvak Muni's mantra about how to attain the goal of life. So many people have different mantras. So the question may be asked, what is the individual mantra that you're chanting? It may be the Maha Mantra, but uh, what is the kind of way your life is going? Is it evolving around the mantra? So one way of of cutting at the root is to change the sound vibration with which you're vibrating with. So that's the cutting at the root of the problem. But also, if you look at the transformation to what this verse is the tongue. As we know from Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur's song, his first of five, actually. Many people don't know that there are five, but then there's five Prasadam songs, and only the first one is Sarira Avidyajal Jodendriya Taikal. So we know that the tongue is the most voracious and uncontrollable, and it's actually, I found a very nice verse from Bhagavatam that I'd like to share with you. Not this one. It is Śrimad Bhāgavatam 11.8.21. And it gives you a very nice understanding of this. Tavaj jitendriyo na syad vijitendra puman na jayed rasanam yavaj jitam sarvam jite rase. I don't know who's speaking this, but it's a very nice verse. Although one may conquer all of the other senses, as long as the tongue is not conquered, it cannot be said that one has controlled his senses. However, if one is able to control the tongue, then one is understood to be in full control of all of these senses. So the Bhagavatam saying is that you can control your eyes, your nose, everything. Even if you look at Rupa Goswami's Upadeshamrita, the first verse, Vacho vegam manasakrodha vegam jifva vegam udarapasta vegam etan vegan yo vishaheta dhira sarvam apimam prithivim sasishyat. That if you look at the three things that are to be controlled, there's six, but the three, the tongue, the belly, and the genitals, they're all in a line. So basically, if you can control your tongue, all the other two will naturally be controlled. Srila Prabhupada says this. So the belly will be controlled because you're eating only the prasad of the Lord, and then the genitals will be controlled because you won't be agitated because you're eating Krishna prasadam. And you're not eating foods that are tinged with passion and ignorance. So this is a very important verse about. So there's two ways which you can control ignorance. That you can cut it at the root is by the tongue. If you control the tongue by eating only Mahaprasad and abstaining, even Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has in this purport. Therefore, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur advises that one accept Mahaprasad or remnants of the Lord's food in a moderate proportion. Since the tongue's function is also to vibrate, one should vibrate the glorious holy name of the Supreme Lord and taste the ecstasy of pure Krishna consciousness. So one should take Mahaprasad only to, but Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is saying remnants of the Lord's food in a moderate proportion. But Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur says that we take it to our heart's content and sing the names of Chaitanya Nitai. So I guess our different acharyas have different understandings of this. So anyway, the two ways of conquering ignorance according to these verses are one, to control the tongue, and two, to control what you hear. And this is what I'd like to say about that verse. But today is also a very special day. It's a very special day for Gaudiya Vaishnavas and Vaishnavas in general. It is the day of Gopashtami. Gopashtami is when Krishna enters into the Pauganda stage. And he gets into this stage. So God is a child. Now he's becoming a man. He's becoming an adult. And now today is the day that Krishna is allowed to take the cows out on pasture. This is the day where he gets the name Gopal. Before he was known as Vatsapal. He was only allowed to take the Vatsas, the calves and the baby cows up to pasture. Nanda Maharaj did not think that he was mature or big enough to take care of the cows. But now today's the day Krishna is becoming big. And so there's a nice verse in 10:15:1. We can read this together. We can chant this together. Shri Shuka Uvacha Tataschapo Ganda Vayashrito Vraje Bhabhuvatustato Pashupala Sammato Gascharayanto Shakibhi Samampader Vrindavanam Punyamativa Chakratu. Shukadev Goswami said, when Lord Ram, Balaram, and Lord Krishna attained the age of Poganda, 6 to 10, while living in Vrindavan, the cowherd men allowed them to take up the task of tending the cows. Engaging thus in the company of their friends, the two boys rendered the land of Vrindavan most auspicious by imprinting upon it the marks of their lotus feet. So it's a small purport. We can read this. It's nice, it's pretty nice. Purport. Lord Krishna wanted to encourage his cowherd boyfriends who had been swallowed by Akasura and then stolen by Lord Brahma. Therefore, the Lord decided to bring them into the palm tree forest called Talvan, where there were many delicious ripe fruits. Since Lord Krishna's spiritual body had apparently grown slightly in age and strength, the senior men of Vrindavan, headed by Nanda Maharaj, decided to promote Krishna from the tasks of herding calves to the status of a regular cowherd boy. He would now take care of the full-grown cows, bulls, and oxen. Out of great affection, Nanda Maharaj had previously considered Krishna too small and immature to take care of full-grown cows and bulls. It is stated in the Kartik Mahatmya section of the Padma Purana, Suklashtami Kartike tu Smrita Gopashtami Bhudai Tad Dinad Vasudevo Bhud Gopa Purvam tu Vatapa. The 8th lunar day of the bright fortnight of the month of Kartik is known by authorities as Gopashtami. From that day, Lord Vasudev served as a cowherd, whereas previously he had tended the calves. The word Padai indicates that Lord Krishna blessed the earth by walking on her surface with his lotus feet. The Lord wore no shoes or other footgear, but walked barefoot in the forest, giving great anxiety to the girls of Vrindavan, who feared that his soft lotus feet would be injured. So, this is the day that Krishna is starting to take the cows and the oxen, and he was only taking care of the baby cows until then, the calves. Now, this verse that is quoted from the Padma Purana, it is saying that Krishna only went barefoot. He never wore shoes at this point. This is an interesting pastime that when Yashoda heard Nanda Maharaj's idea that he should now take care of the cows, Yashoda gave Krishna two gifts on this day, and she gave him an umbrella and some shoes, which are very nice things to give. And Krishna asked my dear mother Yashoda, why are you giving me shoes and umbrella? I never usually wear these things. And Yashoda said, actually now you'll be going into the forest and taking care of the cows and the oxen. And the cows and the oxen go very far places, not like the calves. And you'll be hitting thorns and hard rocks and things, so you should wear these shoes, and you'll be going for long periods of time because cows like to eat more than calves, so the cows will be out longer, so there may be sun, so I'll give you this umbrella. And Krishna said, my name, actually in this temple we call him Govinda. Krishna is known as Govinda, and I am the protector of the cows, and I serve them. And if I have shoes, and if I am serving them, why should my cows not have shoes? And why should my cows not have umbrella? And why? And this does not look. It looks very hypocritical. I am called Govinda. I am the protector of the cows, and if the servant, I am protecting them. If the servant does not have has something that the master does not have, this looks very bad. And Nanda Maharaj had a small cow protection program, 1 million cows. He had 1 million cows. So if you do some basic arithmetic, Krishna has requested that Yashoda make 4 million cow shoes and 1 million cow umbrellas for his herd. And Yashoda thought this was very somewhat unreasonable to make 4 million cow shoes and 1 million cow umbrellas. So Krishna said, okay, since my cows are never going to wear shoes because we're not able to provide them, I will never wear shoes after this. So he never wore shoes after this. And the earth became blessed with the feet of Krishna directly on the soles of on the face of the earth. And there's a nice verse which we can all read. This is from the prayers of Akrura. Akrura is entering Vrindavan, and we can read this verse. Yad architam brahma bhavadbhi sure Sriya cha devya munibhi sasatvate Gocharanayanucharesh charadvane Yad gopikanam kuchakunkumankitam. So, in this verse, it's described that Krishna's feet, Architam, by who Brahma, Bhavadbi, Sure, and Sri, that Brahma and all the other demigods, like Shiva and even Sri, Lakshmi, are worshipping Krishna's feet. And all these demigods are always praying to Krishna's lotus feet. But and also upon Adbhay, right? That by various types of people, Munibhi, Satvate. But what are these feet doing all day? These feet are, even though worshipped by so many great personalities, they're following after cows. They're serving cows and they're chasing cows with friends. This is the place of Krishna. Is that even though so many great personalities are worshipping his feet, what are his feet doing? His feet are just running after cows, and they're smeared with the kumkum from the gopis' breasts. This is the understanding of the greatness of Krishna's lotus feet and the cows. That the feet are always running, and nectar devotion, we can actually learn a lot from Krishna in this regard. Some people say actually that there's a common thought in India that Krishna is not a moral god, even though he's morality personified. So people are actually are attracted to Lord Ram in terms of morality and respectability. And actually, but this is one thing that we can learn from Krishna and how to imbibe. Because in nectar devotion, cows are also worshipped by demigods and worshipped by great personalities. But Krishna taught us specifically how to worship and take care of cows and how to worship these cows. Krishna worshipped cows on 2 specific days. That's mentioned in Bhagavatam. Today is one of the days that Krishna worships cows. And what's the other day? Anybody know? Go Puja, which is also Govardhan Puja. So Govardhan Puja, on Govardhan Puja day and Go Puja day, Krishna specifically worshipped cows. And Krishna gave bliss to the earth, who is also called Go. Govinda is not just protector of the cows. There's Govinda, there's Gopa, there's Govinda. Go can be cows, Go can be the senses, Go can be the earth, Go can be Goswami, can be the Goswamis. So Go is protector of a lot of things. So Krishna gave bliss to earth, who's also called Go, and he gave bliss to the Brajvasis also. And doing these pastimes, and they would see Krishna's feet. If you open the Krishna book, and you'll see this nice picture of Akrura looking at Krishna's feet, and he's just like so awe and amazed. Actually, when Akrura is going to, when he gets sent by Kamsa to go to Vrindavan, have you noticed? Actually, it says it's mentioned in Bhagavatam. It takes him a whole day to get from from Mathura to Vrindavan, to take Krishna back to Mathura. If you've made that ride from, it only takes like like a couple minutes. But actually, the previous acharyas explained that Akrura kept getting lost because he was seeing Krishna's feet everywhere, and he was just getting intoxicated, and he was just looking at Krishna's feet. But it takes him the whole day to get from Mathura to Vrindavan. So, sarvopadi vinirmuktam tatparatmena nirmalam rishikena rishikesha sevanam bhaktir uchyate. That this is a verse by Narada Muni. It's saying that one can control the senses by serving the master of the senses. Rishikena rishikesha. And how do we serve the master? We have to serve him. Sevanam bhaktir uchyate, with love and devotion. So when Brahma is, right before this pastime, Brahma is taking away the gopas and the cows, and Krishna and the cows wander away. This is a very instructive story, that the cows are wandering away and they just got lost, and they're hurt grazing, and they just kept grazing, and the gopas are eating their lunch, and they're having this curd rice and so many, and they're eating, and the cows are grazing, and Krishna says, I'll go get them, you don't worry. And our previous acharyas actually make a big point about this, is that cows and calves, actually calves before this, they're very, very fickle minded, like similar to a monkey. They'll go anywhere. If you ever try to grab a calf, if you go to a goshala and you try to grab a calf, it's so hard. They always run away. They don't want to be grabbed or caught or anything like that, unless you really get to know them, and they trust you. So they're very difficult to control, and they run away. So go, cow, can also mean go, the senses. So in that way, the previous acharyas understand this section, in that if we place Krishna in the center of our lives, and Krishna will control your senses. So if the calves, which are also the senses, start to roam, and if the senses start to roam and wander, it is now not even up to us to bring them under control. The responsibility lies on Krishna completely. But Krishna always encourages us if we continue the process. So sometimes when we take up to the process of Krishna consciousness, and if our senses aren't being controlled, our mind's wandering, we're not able to control this. And what is the first thing that comes up? Hopelessness. I don't have hope. And you get discouraged, and then you start to think, what is this chanting? Why do I have to come and greet the deities? Why do I have to come to Guru Puja? Why do I have to attend Śrimad Bhāgavatam class? Why do I have to go to Vrindavan? It takes so much endeavor, go to India. Why do I have to do all these things if the basic process for why I joined Krishna consciousness, I'm not even able to control my mind? Why am I even taking up this process? Fair point, right? So my senses are still roaming, but the duty is to control. When we put ourselves in completely under Krishna's control, this is the factor. If we completely put ourselves under Krishna's control, then it's actually not even our duty. Krishna just says, keep going. Even if they roam, I'll bring them under control. Sarva dharman parityaja mam ekam sharanam braja aham tvam sarva pape bhyo moksha yishyami masucha. This verse is actually giving the mood of the Vrajavasis. If you look at Sharanam Vraja means movement. And if you actually meet a Vrajavasi, a true Vrajavasi, and they actually walk a lot. Braj Mandal Parikrama, Govardhan Parikrama, Varshana Parikrama. And it's not a place of just like relaxing and chilling, it's a place of walking. And one meaning of Sharanam Braja is that you take Sarva Dharman Parityaja Mam Ekam Sharanam Braja. The Sometimes our acharyas take this word Braja. Braja literally sometimes means Vrindavan, but Vraja can mean movement. So when you take shelter of Krishna, it's moving your desires to Krishna's desires. And that is what it means to be Braja Vasi, movement to Krishna's desires. So, like Gaur Govinda Maharaj was talking with Giriraj Maharaj once, and Giriraj Maharaj expressed that I would like to move to Vrindavan and stay in Vrindavan forever. And Gaur Govinda Maharaj immediately replied, even Kamsa was in Vrindavan. Even Kamsa lived in Vrindavan. He did Brajvas. So that's not necessarily, you can be in Vrindavan, but not be in Vrindavan. But you can be outside of Vrindavan and you can be in Vrindavan. But in the sense that, what is your consciousness? Is your desire according to Krishna's desire? Is Krishna desiring you to do those actions? But also there's you can say Vrindavan is a consciousness, but Bhoma Vrindavan is also a place, because back to our first point, that Krishna's lotus feet have touched there, and Krishna's foot dust has been in that area, and it's mixed with the dust there. That's why when you go to Vrindavan, you feel like, wow, this is such a spiritual place, such a holy place, revered place. We go and we can pay obeisance everywhere because Krishna's feet has touched, and we must that itself requires some awe and reverence and respect. So back to this is, sometimes we get discouraged and hopeless and, oh, my mind's not even being controlled. We can learn from this pastime of Brahma Vimohan and Lila. Krishna's like, I'll go get the cows. I'll go get your senses. You keep doing devotional service. You keep doing the process of Krishna consciousness. So that is one understanding how you can learn from the cows. And on Gopashtami, Srimati Radharani, who actually looks, she has a somewhat of a resemblance to Subal Sakha. She has so what happens is that Krishna's first day taking out the cows, and everybody's so excited, and all the gopas are so excited because they can also take part of the cows. She also wanted to be part of the pastime. And what happens? So she secretly dresses up as Subal Sakha. And if you go to Vrindavan and a lot of other temples, they dress Radharani as a cowherd boy, and they show her feet, and she's dressed up as a cowherd boy, and this signifies this pastime that that even Srimati Radharani, there's always this competition sometimes between the Sakhas and the Sakhis. Actually, the Sakhas used to worship this Surya, the sun, and the gopis used to worship Chandra, the moon. And the reason is that the Sakhas used to worship the Surya because they don't want the day to end. Because during the day, Krishna is with them, and they get to graze and hang out with Krishna, and they're hanging out under a tree, and Balaram is getting his foot massaged, and they would and go on each other's shoulders, and they'd play. So they worshipped Surya, so that, oh, I don't want this day to end. Let me just keep it going. And what would the gopis pray to? They would pray to the moon. I don't want this night to end, because that's when they would get to associate with Krishna. And in one way, that's why we so hold in reverence Govardhan Puja. Because that's the day the Gopas and the Gopis were all equally reciprocated by Krishna, because they all got to go under the hill and experience Krishna for 7 days and 7 nights. So that's the day that Srimati Radharani dresses up like a Sakha, and she goes and and participates in the pastime. And one thing also about this day that's so important is that this is the day that Indra declared Krishna as Govinda. If you look at 1 week ago, if you remember 1 week ago where we were, There was a big hill right in the middle of this temple hall. We all circumambulated it because Krishna lifted the hill, and for 7 days and 7 nights, he held up this hill. And on this day, Krishna put down the hill, and Indra comes and he starts making his prayers, and he's saying that you are the protector, you are the controller, and he says actually today you are the Govinda, because if you look at what the Brajvasis were doing, they were all doing Indra Puja so that they would get rains and vegetation, and they would get food, and the cows were maintained, and if the vegetation is there, the cows can go and um, can go and graze on Govardhan Hill and eat and give milk, and so on. Brajvasi culture continues. But Indra now declares, I am not Govinda. You are Govinda, Krishna, because you are the actual maintainer and protector of the cows. So now so the way that usually Gopashtami is celebrated in Vrindavan or anywhere actually, the way Gopashtami is celebrated is that first there's a special puja to the cows in the morning. They're fed laddus, and they're painted very nicely, and their nice dresses made, and they're given all sorts of facilities and laddus and lapsi and all these jaggery, and they're fed very nicely, and kirtan is performed in front of them, and sometimes even I've seen the deities, actually the utsav deities, the archa deities come and see the cows on this day. They're like, we know in some temples in India actually that the deities, when they're having their installation ceremony, a cow is the first thing to see Krishna, because Krishna likes to see the cows first. I was watching a video of and I was seeing His Holiness Haladar Maharaj in ISKCON Patu Munde, and actually when they have their darshanarti for the festivals, they bring a cow inside. They bring a cow inside, and the cow sees the deities, and Krishna's like, oh yes, he's very pleased when he sees the cows. I don't know how we can facilitate that in New York. We do have a cow on the altar today, a special cow. So he's accepting like that. So incense, color, laddus. This is where he's worshipped today, and now he's not Vatsapal anymore. He is Gopal. He can protect cows and not just calves. If we look at this combination of Krishna and Balaram, Krishna is representative of cow protection, and Balaram is representative of agriculture. So this cow protection agriculture, God is teaching us how to be, what he does. What is, if you think about your job, you may be IT profession, you may be a teacher, a doctor. What is God's job? God's job, and Prabhupada actually mentioned in a class, God is not so servant where he has to wear business suit and tie and goes to work every day. This is God's job is pleasure, and he gets pleasure by taking care of cows and by having this agriculture. And this needs to be cultivated within all of us. This, if we desire to kind of live this simple life in Krishna consciousness, this cow protection is so important for all of us. And even it's in the purposes of ISKCON, is that the seven purposes of ISKCON. Number 6 is to bring the members closer together for the purpose of teaching a simple and more natural way of life. Now, this can be interpreted, the last word, natural way, can be interpreted two ways, and actually they're not against each other. Natural in the sense of nature, but in terms of nature, grass, greenery, but also nature is, what is our true nature? Our true nature is Jivere Swarupo Hoy, Krishner Nitya Das. If we want to be Krishner Nitya Das, then what is Krishna, who is he a servant of? Krishna's Govinda, protector of the cows. So if we are actually Krishna Nitya Das, we are Das of his cows also. This is how Srila Prabhupada emphasizes a lot. If you look at whenever he debate with Christians and people from other faiths, he would never actually go into theology. He would never actually speak about what is Jesus Christ's teachings. He would never actually do that. What is the main point that Prabhupada would speak on? Why are you eating meat? Why? Yeah, that I forget who it was. It was in Italy or France or something. That pontiff. He has a very thick accent, and he's trying to get into like more like Jesus' teachings, and Prabhupada would just never get off this point. The Bible says, "Thou shalt not kill. Why are you eating meat?" Oh, Prabhupada, let's speak about something about Jesus. Why are you eating meat? This is He would go on and on. And if you look at some of these, what Prabhupada's intentions were, and when he came to America, he wanted these places like New Vrindavan, New Talavan, Gita Nagari, all these farm communities, because when devotees read his books, the all the way from first canto to 10th canto, then they read the 10th canto and they see how important it is that Krishna himself, God himself, is emphasizing this cow protection, and he wanted to showcase this Vrindavan lifestyle. So in these farm communities, Krishna actually Prabhupada focused on four things. Krishna was one of the focus, cows, agriculture, and the devotees. And at least some small percent of people, Prabhupada wanted to be on the farms. And that should be supportive of this city temple. And he would say that the country temple should make the ghee and milk and all the products and supply it to the city temples. And for the city temples, when we preach to devotees and we make them devotees, you can take them and you can show them Vrindavan. You can show them the Vrajvasi lifestyle, so it's easier for them to take up to Krishna consciousness. Gauranga Prabhu, I was just hearing upstairs, when they've made a nice farm in 108 kilometers outside of Mumbai, called Govardhan Eco Village. And Gauranga Prabhu, when he in 2009 or 2008, when he got in charge of that project, they went up to His Holiness Radhana Maharaj, who started the project, and he said, actually, Maharaj, cow protection on a strictly economical level does not make any sense. And this project of Govardhan Eco Village financially does not make any sense, because if we think about it financially, you're having a cow and it's giving milk, and you can actually sell that milk and you can provide for the temple and so many things. But once that cow has stopped providing milk, what actual use does it have economically? Makes valid point. But His Holiness Radha Maharaj's response was, in Krishna consciousness, not everything needs to be about economics and financial sense. He says the purpose of Govardhan Eco Village and the whole farm project and community and all these things is to please Krishna. And if Krishna is pleased, he will give us all provisions. And Gauranga Prabhu said, I don't know how much I believed in that before, but he said, now I believe in it very much because I see how this project has grown. Now they have so many different facilities, and it all, Govardhan Eco Village is the foundation, is actually, if you go there, is the cows and the cow protection and the natural lifestyle. So we spoke about a few things. We spoke about Gopashtami. Today is also the disappearance of Srinivasacharya, and Dhananjay Pandit and Gadadhar Das Goswami. We had a chance to speak about those, but I can forward some links on the Radha Govinda Temple group chat so that you guys can avail by reading about these three devotees. Uh, I'll pause there. It's 8:55. I'll take some comments, questions, or corrections if you have time. Hare Krishna. Do you have a mic? 7 seconds or less, or your money back from this class. Five, four, three.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you. This is a nice class, and I appreciate this emphasis on Gopashtami. Just a quick comment. I was thinking when you were talking about the cows, we had a baby calf at Gitanagari, and how you were talking about the fickle mind and how the cows are fickle. We had this baby calf, and I would take him for walks, and he was so afraid of his own shadow and like the wind. It was so crazy. So I think that's why cows are so pure, because they don't really realize how strong they are. They don't realize their strength, and I think that's really beautiful. I did have another question too, but one of them, you mentioned that the Asasakis would worship Chandra, the moon god, but I remember reading that Radharani would worship the sun god. So
I'm speaking about one specific pastime, where actually there's one specific pastime where they would worship the moon god. They may worship the sun god also, but in one specific pastime, I remember there's a temple there. I think maybe in like Govardhan, where they worship the moon god as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then just really quickly, because this verse was talking a lot about controlling the tongue, and we hear that controlling the tongue can be done within prasadam, but then we also hear that we need to take prasadam within moderation. And then you also mentioned that we can be, if one's not taking prasadam, then they will be subject to foods in the mode of ignorance and passion. But we also cook with, nightshades and like really spicy things. So we also have that within prasadam. So which one kind of takes the hierarchy, like the prasadam or the passion and ignorance within prasadam? Like,
Yeah.
can you explain that?
When things are offered to Krishna, which what Krishna likes, any food can be turned into. It's not even on the three modes of material nature anymore. It is Shuddha Sattva. So, of course, these things, Srila Prabhupada introduced them, like eggplant and potatoes and these things. And these things are traditionally nightshades, but if the pure devotee is saying it is okay to offer them to Krishna, then we can accept that his idea was what will Krishna accept. So if under his authority is Krishna accepting them, and he said we can offer them, then actually we can understand when they're with their prashadam, they're actually on the transcendental platform and can purify. Prabhupada has a recipe in Mother Yamunara's book. It's called Meat Lover's Delight. It's called Meat Lover's Delight. It's fried eggplant, potatoes, and paneer, and it's mixed with heavy cream. And he said that if anybody eats this sabji, they will forget all about meat, meat eating. So, if anybody wants to try that with their family or anything, Hare Krishna. Yes.
Hare Krishna, very nice class. I was just wondering if maybe you had any information, because Krishna loves cows so much, and the devotees love cows and are instructed to protect cows. But then I haven't heard many interactions with Lord Chaitanya and cows. So do you know of any pastimes or why that might be that we don't see Lord Chaitanya just hanging out with cows?
I haven't heard personally, but in Nectar Devotion it says that all devotees must worship cows and protect cows. And we know that Nectar Devotion is Lord Chaitanya speaking to Rupa Goswami. So in that sense, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu is a conversation. It's not but it's inspired by the conversation that Lord Chaitanya had to Rupa Goswami. So he must have mentioned it, if Rupa Goswami did mention that. But I have not heard any specific pastimes, in the sense that actually I can think of yagya. If we think of the idea of yagya, that the Sankirtan yagya is the yagya for this age, but also Lord Chaitanya mentions that to do yagya you must have ghee and so many other things, and we're not qualified to do those. So that's why Prabhupada always mentions there's cow protection and all this, but then he says the prime yagya for this age is Harinam Sankirtan. So I have not heard any past time. I can look into this and I can let you know some more things. Jai.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Anything else? Okay. Oh, Grantraj Śrimad Bhāgavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Gopashtami ki, Dhya Dhananjaya Pandit ki, Srinivas Acharya ki, Gadadhar Das Goswami ki, Srila Prabhupada ki. Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Boo.